There are many oil and gas opportunities in Namibia that you can be able to tap into or that you can get engaged in. And in this video, I'm going to share with you in very broad terms the oil and gas business opportunities in Namibia with an objective of helping you figure out how you can get involved in the oil and gas industry across Namibia. When it comes to the oil and gas industry in Namibia, it has gotten into the limelight in recent years given the offshore oil and gas discoveries in Namibia. That has shown that the country has a working petroleum or hydrocarbon system, and that's a good thing because it means if Namibia can be able to actually get those resources, they can use them to actually solve some of the problems that exist in the country. They can be able to use those resources to expand the economy as well as invest in other non-hydrocarbon related industry to expand or diversify the economy. At the same time, if you are an entrepreneur, if you are an investor, if you are someone seeking an oil and gas job, it means that there are opportunities for you across the Namibian oil and gas value chain. Now, the oil and gas industry in Namibia is divided into three segments, which is the segments that you find in the oil and gas industry. You have the upstream oil and gas industry in Namibia, you have the midstream oil and gas sector in Namibia, and you have the downstream oil and gas sector in Namibia. These three subsectors actually form the oil and gas value chain in Namibia, and there are oil and gas opportunities across each of those segments. So if you are to look at each of those subsectors, you would start, let's say, with upstream, which is the most prominent now in Namibia. And that involves exploration and production of oil and gas resources. You are trying to look for the oil and gas and producing it or getting it off the ground. In this case, most of those discoveries have been made offshore, meaning in the Atlantic Ocean. And the upstream sector in Namibia has its own ecosystem. You can actually say it has its own value chain, and you can be able to tap into the oil and gas opportunities across the upstream value chain in Namibia. That can be either you get into the country from an international point of view, or there are opportunities that Namibian businesses or entrepreneurs can tap into. And this is where the conversation around local content, local participation comes into place. And what, for example, local businesses in Namibia need to do to be able to get to a level where they can be able to tap into the oil and gas business opportunities or oil and gas jobs within the upstream sector in Namibia. There's a lot that can be said about this, and there are a lot of opportunities that you can tap into. And you need to maybe take some time to undertake research and understand what is required for you to participate in the upstream oil and gas sector in Namibia. When you think of the midstream oil and gas industry in Namibia, it comes with a lot of oil and gas opportunities. And the midstream sector, basically you are looking at transportation, storage, probably refining, and all associated services or products in that particular subsector. Now in Namibia, you have the potential of actually getting involved in the midstream sector, especially when you consider the major oil and gas discovery that has been made. So this is a very interesting opportunity. If you are an entrepreneur, if you are an investor, you can actually get involved in this. And you would need to probably spend some time, understanding how you can get involved in the midstream oil and gas industry in Namibia, how you can be able to engage the government of Namibia in terms of getting involved or investing in that particular space. But given the discoveries and the fact that Namibia may want to actually build this oil and gas midstream sector, it presents an oil and gas opportunity for an investor or entrepreneur who would want to take such a risk. The third area that you need to look into when it comes to the oil and gas opportunities in Namibia is the downstream oil and gas sector in Namibia. And in Namibia, you have 5 major oil companies that are actually involved in the downstream sector. And when I mean downstream here, I'm talking of petroleum products being able to get to the consumer. And what you'll find is that Namibia is actually a net importer of petroleum products. It imports most of the products that it uses in terms of the downstream sector. So you're dealing, kerosene, diesel, petroleum, and all associated activities when it comes to the downstream sector. Now, you can't be able to get into this sector. You need to be able to understand the dynamics and the rules, regulation, and the laws that govern the importation and selling, whether wholesale or retail, of the petroleum products or petroleum services in Namibia. But there are opportunities, or there are oil and gas opportunities in this space, and you can be able to get involved, or you can be able to tap into them if you are keen to get in that particular subsector. Namibia has become a hotspot when it comes to the oil and gas industry, especially given the recent oil and gas discoveries that has been made offshore by companies such as Shell and Total Energies. That has put Namibia on the map, and it has made it a country that has potential for oil and gas resources. It has become a country that has potential to become a great or a prolific oil and gas producing nation in Africa as well as in the world. And as you can imagine, every time there is an oil discovery in a country, it actually provides a lot of excitement to the people within the country. And also it becomes an area of interest to investors and entrepreneurs who may want to get involved in that particular sector. And that is the case with Namibia. The good thing about oil and gas opportunities in Namibia is that the government is actively promoting the oil and gas industry in Namibia. The government is actually seeking or trying to attract investors into the oil and gas industry in Namibia. That's already a positive thing, because it means you can be able to have a conversation about investing in the oil and gas industry in Namibia. And as long as this continues, as long as the government is pro-business, or it is encouraging investment into the oil and gas industry in Namibia, that is upstream, midstream, and downstream, it means that you can be able to tap into the emerging oil and gas opportunities in the Namibian oil and gas value chain. Namibia expects to see unprecedented growth when it comes to the oil and gas industry, and as the industry grows, so will be the oil and gas opportunities. And those are oil and gas opportunities either in business or when it comes to the job opportunities or availability of jobs across the oil and gas value chain. And you can be able to spend time researching and understanding how you can be able to get involved in the Namibian oil and gas industry. And if you have enjoyed this particular video, I'm sure you are going to enjoy the video on your screen right now. Subscribe to this YouTube channel if you have not, and I'll see you in the next one.